have more chairs if you... Yes, I will. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this round table. The topic that we are tackling today is a very broad one and ambitious one because we are talking about the artistic ecosystems of 3 countries. So we are talking about artistic ecosystems of Lebanon, of Syria, and Palestine. So I reckon it's rather ambitious for an hour and a half, but we really wanted to take the advantage of having Menart today in Paris, which is a platform which is connecting Middle Eastern and European cultural actors to discuss and mainly give the floor to practitioners on the ground who are here today, and we can learn from them. So the discussions we have in Europe about the Sham region are mainly made through foreign expertise, so European and American expertise, and through the sole lens of crisis, which is an undeniable reality, of course. But it's been overshadowing another vital story that we want to share today, that of the artists, of the curators, of the gallerists, the researchers, collectives, and institutions sustaining and promoting creation and artistic excellence in those countries and beyond the borders. So it is my pleasure today to give the floor to practitioners, experts, and artists. We wanted to have this opportunity for us to sit down and listen and learn from their experiences. So I will introduce today. We have Nour Salman. Nour is here. She's been working with different galleries before becoming an independent curator. And she created Art Vision Gallery, a space open in Damascus in 2023, dedicated to bring together Syrian and regional artists whose work resonates. They tell the untold stories marked by war loss, resilience, and the urge to rebuild. You represent those artists left unseen because of the war and its aftermath. And today you are representing those artists in Beirut, in Dubai, and in Europe, and so beyond the borders. So thank you, Nour. Kalim Bechara. So Kalim is a Lebanese collector, curator, and gallerist. He is the founder and director of Kalim Bechara Art Gallery, which opened its new space in Beirut earlier this year. So congratulations. He actively supports artists from the region as well and promotes dialogue between local and international art scenes. Yusef Hussein here is the manager of Zawyeh Gallery, opened in Ramallah in 2013, and you expanded in Dubai in 2020. So you've been developing and promoting international visibility of contemporary Palestinian artists in Palestine and beyond the borders. You've been fostering cultural exchanges through exhibitions and art fair, like the Ramallah Art Fair you've been organizing to connect with a global audience. Thank you, Yusef. And we have the pleasure to have Mohammed Joha. Mohammed was born in Gaza. He is a visual artist who lives and works between Paris and Marseille now. So Mohammed, you graduated in 2003 from Al-Aqsa University, and you participated in a prestigious residency in Amman the same year, actually, under the guidance of the great artist Marwan. You were awarded the Hussein Prize, so in 2004. You are a visual artist, rooting your experience in your Palestinian identity and the Palestinian experience. And if you want to see his work, it's actually displayed today downstairs at Zawyeh Gallery booth. So thank you so much for joining us today. And here we are, we have Kevork Mourad. If you were here earlier, you might have seen his performance. It was wonderful, thank you so much. Kevork was born in Kamishli in Syria. He's of Armenian descent and you grew up in Aleppo. He's a calligrapher and visual artist currently based in New York, combining drawing, animation and live performances to explore different themes like memory, exile and identity. You performed and exhibited in a very numerous number of institutions in South Korea, Canada, the US, Germany, France and other places. You are the recipient of the 2023 NYSCA Prize. Grant, and a fellow of the Fountainhead Residency in Miami in 2024. Thank you so much for being here today. So we wanted to have this space to hold this as kind of an informal conversation, but basically have this fascinating practitioners share their experiences and map for us maybe a little bit to start with, map a little bit the ecosystem in which you are currently evolving. And we have 3 gallerists and curators here today, so I would love to hear about your vision and what drives your curatorial practice today. So maybe you can start with Nour and go on from there, and then thank you very much.
So, hello everybody. So as you said, I worked with many galleries before, and then I decided in 2023 to open my own space. It's because I had my own vision to work with established artists and with young artists, but I wanted to work in a way that is a bit different than how they were working in Syria in the last years of war and everything. So I wanted to work in a way that we do like themed exhibitions, group exhibition with a theme. Artists can talk together, plan together, and also to work on the established artists that we have a lot in Syria as well. It was very important step because of the war. Some artists that stayed in Syria, they were a little bit forgotten in a way or another if they weren't exhibiting outside. Inside it was like a bit lacking of exhibitions, and the art scene wasn't really going.
Thank you. Maybe can you share which kind of exhibitions you organized and how it was also welcome in Damascus?
Yeah, actually I did an exhibition called Incomplete Youth. I did an exhibition of 10 young artists. I was talking about the war and how it affected the youth. It's one of the most dear to my heart because we all worked together as a team, and each artist presented how the war affected him in his own way, in his art, how did he describe it. So it was one of the most exhibitions I really liked.
Thank you. We'll come back to you. But Kalim, would you like to share also? It's a different city, different country, but can you share your experience?
Sure. Good evening, first of all, everybody. First of all, as you know, I'm based in Beirut. So Beirut, in my opinion, has been always the capital of beauty in the Middle East, at least before. When I started the gallery in 2021, the goal was to mainly support emerging Arab artists from the region and to showcase their work in Beirut and abroad. It started in Beirut first, but then we tried to expand to the Gulf and to Cairo as well. We have offices there. So the goal is to mainly showcase their work and try to include them in institutions, museum shows, and even art fairs as much as possible. And on the other side, we also have the educational aspect. So the gallery really promotes educational shows and institutional shows, not only commercial. So this is how it started, and we're slowly trying to improve.
Thank you. And do you have any projects in mind to maybe continue to foster this effort that you're doing right now to not only show artists but also promote emergence and education? Have any projects in that sense?
So we do shows approximately every other month in Beirut. We try to participate as much as possible in art fairs. We support art fairs such as Menart, thank you for everything we do, and other fairs as well in the Middle East. The goal is to try to promote Arab artists as much as possible on an international level. Try to reach like the worldwide market.
Thank you. And Yusef, do you want to talk about your experience?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's good to be here. Nour, thank you so much. I've been trying to think how to, introduce myself in the gallery into the context, and I find that very challenging. So I would start by putting us in the context of the past 2 years that have really shaped how we think and how we act as a gallery, and also has affected very deeply our artistic side of the creation of the Palestinian art scene. So I think that since late 2023, all of us have asked ourselves what is our duty and what can we do to really shed light on what is happening through a very important tool that is art. So at least in the gallery in Ramallah, we have started to focus and to change our mindset to a balance between fine art and the function of a white cube, which is the gallery in the traditional sense, but also to balance that with a cultural institution, let's say, that does work that is advocating and is a platform to showcase and to magnify incredible talents. I always say and appreciate that in places of struggle, the art is the most pure and it's the most strong and it's what's coming from the heart and it's art of necessity and it's not art of luxury or bourgeois. So tapping into that with all of our resources and experience and participations and outside of Palestine, we're able to, or what we did is change our complete program and scratch and start again to seeing young talents, to seeing artists from Gaza, to seeing where are the voices most needed and how can we adapt quickly. So perhaps I can share 2 projects that we have done. One of them is a project of murals by Maysara Baroud. You can see some of his work. Maysara Baroud was a very important voice in Gaza, within Gaza, painting everyday sort of visual diaries that became very important in the sense of their artistic composition, but also what it means to create art in the time while you as an artist are experiencing being a refugee and survival. So because the artworks were in Gaza and not in Ramallah, what we did is we spoke to a number of young artists in Ramallah to come and to recreate his work as murals. It was the first exhibition us as a gallery where in the opening there was no artworks for sale. It was people coming to see what other artists are creating in Gaza as murals. So this created a sense of collaboration between us and the artist, where the artist stopped being important. It was the message that was the important and the walls and what they were saying. And what we loved about this project is that we saw curators and artists around the world that heard about this project and started to recreate it in other countries. So it became sort of an activism movement rather than an opening, a traditional vernissage where collectors come and they acquire art because there was literally nothing to sell. Another project that we did is to request artists to produce posters, and in the Palestinian context, how it started, contemporary Palestinian artists started before painting as political posters. So these are posters that were used by the PLO from the 60s until today. So these new generation of artists that no longer are used to the poster had to recreate these, and they became prints. So these are high quality prints that you can get beautiful work that carries a message, and then all the proceeds from this were donated into Gaza. So this is probably an example of your question was like, what is our vision, what we do as a gallery in the past 2.5 years. This is what we have been doing, and this is what we continue to hope to be able to do.
Thank you very much. And it gives actually a perfect transition to talk about artists, because as you said, it's an art of necessity, and I don't think we need to discuss the utility of art at this point. I think everyone here is sharing the same love for art and understands this necessity of, but the difficulty of having a cultural environment that helps artists have the freedom of expression and have the resources also, because that's an important topic, to share their vision and share their testimony. So maybe Mohammed and Kevork will enlighten us about their work, their vision. It's not about generalizing, but it's really about your experience as artists. And I had a chance to discuss with Mohammed ahead of this conference, so to show me his work and what is your, maybe the way you express your vision and about the necessity of this testimony that you are showing us today.
Thank you very much for this kind invitation, and I'm so happy that I'm joining you this moment. I would like to also thank so much Yusef and Zawyeh Gallery bringing this body of artworks, sharing it with all of this great community and great people. My name is Mohammed Joha. I am a Palestinian artist from Gaza, but I live abroad since more than 20 years. In France, Italy, and somewhere else around. So I'm trying this project to capture some images from reality, the reality of Gaza. It's nothing from reality, you know, just I take a few things. We could not even explain the reality. I'm trying to capture the miserable reality in Gaza right now, and using textile, paper, fragile materials to create the scene, because the scene is really miserable. Gaza, which was very sophisticated and very developed city, more than even the most developed Arabic countries, Arabic capitals, and Gaza now is smashed. So I need all of the towers, houses, villas, gardens, swimming pools, public and private spaces has become just tents everywhere, you know. There is no space to walk in Gaza. Streets all over smashed. The map of Gaza, the geographical and demographical map totally changed and destroyed, unfortunately. So I'm trying by my art just to capture some images in case to transform them into a piece of art. I'm using these fragile materials because the case it is really, once you use the fragile materials for a sustainable case, it means things are repetitive. So I'm trying just to show a small part of reality through my art. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And indeed, we can see in your work that you've been focusing on architecture, and so as a testimony also of what is being lost and what is lost today. And you've been focusing a lot on materiality, so as you said perfectly. And interestingly enough, it resonates with Kevork Mourad, which is very different, but still we have this matter of materiality that you've been explaining, and so you are a visual artist also working with different materials. Could you maybe share also your practice and your vision?
Thank you very much for having us here. It's an incredible fair. It feels like I'm coming home and seeing incredible energy. All the artists are giving their beautiful sense of aesthetic that I'm going home to continue building on whatever you're giving me. That's, I think, very important for me to live in this ecosystem, because the practice of visual artists is very lonely practice. We have to figure out how to collaborate with others, and we have to figure out how to capture our history, our ancestors, and especially like someone like me, my ancestors came to Syria as refugees, and I gained and received so much love and inspiration from Arab Syrian community that it pours in my work. When earlier you said calligraphy, I was a bit surprised because I don't call myself a calligrapher, but when you look at my work, you might find traces of calligraphy because I cannot ignore it. You know, I grew up in Syria, ate beautiful Arabic food and the water and all the architecture, it's in my work. So when I went to America, I wanted to create something like storytelling. What is it like to be a modern day Hakawati storyteller? So I decided to create this performance idea. And in this performance, I started collaborating with musicians, with dancers, with poets, singers. And I realized that the idea of creating this ecosystem where you can get inspired by your colleagues, your ancestors, it's very important. And another layer which is very important, I love working with younger students, doing workshops in different countries. And I feel like that's now more than ever very important to figure out how, between us, we could figure out how to collaborate. We came here, it's not an accident, we're under the same roof. It will be amazing when we leave, we could build this relationship to make something bigger, because there are so many young artists, they need many things from us, not only the technique and the style and how you become successful, but also many of the young artists, they're looking out to the West, they're like, oh, I want to become the next Jackson Pollock or Picasso. They're like, I'm sure between us we could say, hey, let's figure out how we can gain something from this land, which is, let's say, the Middle East or Mesopotamia, and we could make something unique from it, because there's so many incredible things in that land was there. Many incredible historic things that appears in my work is from that inspiration. So basically, that's it. And I use fabric because I feel like the fabric is the easiest way to create and to fold it, to put in your pocket, and to go to another country to open it and build your home through this image. So it's memory, migration, displacement is part of my practice, and building it again to inspire younger generations.
Thank you so much, and sorry about the calligraphy. I was wrong. What resonates is that all of you really have, I think, original approach. You've been working in different landscapes, but there is a dialogue between the different actors. Most of you, Nour, you are not only representing Syrian artists, but artists from the region, the same with Kalim, and I think you also have probably a lot of collaboration at the regional level. Would you care to tell us a bit more about these regional landscapes and the networks?
Everybody's looking at me.
We are looking at you.
Well, so actually, before October 7th, our vision as a gallery was to diversify, and we were starting to work with Lebanese artists, Iranian artists, and Iraqi artists. But after the current events, we decided to step back and to only use our platform for Palestinian voices. So it's actually a reverse. We were going to expand, but then we said, no, we need to remain where we are and actually create a larger, stronger, louder voice for Palestinian artists. But I hope that once things settle down, we're able to think in a different way, where we can be more inclusive and be able to share and collaborate with others. But at the moment, we're not able to look outside due to the scenario.
Yeah. Kalim, do you have any thoughts on this, on the regional networks and maybe the
So I think it's very important for galleries to collaborate, artists to collaborate, as Kevork was saying. We are under the same, let's say, we live in the same land, we have the same culture, the same beliefs, etc. So it's very nice to collaborate and try to resonate more powerful resonance. In the Middle East there are plenty of different cultures. Like the history goes back to over 5,000 years back, and many civilizations took over the Middle East. So we have a very diverse culture and richness in there. So it's important to emphasize on this and use it as a tool to show the world what we have and the beauty that we have, and this feeling that's very original and we only have it in this area of the world. So it's very important to collaborate and show this to the world.
Yeah. So actually for me, collaboration is very important at the moment because my gallery is not open now because of the situation at the moment in Syria. So what I'm doing is I'm collaborating with different spaces or galleries in Dubai and Beirut to present my artists, the artists that I work with. So collaborations for me are very important, and I see that it's a way to bring your artists to new people, so people can see. Of course, like Fatih he's already in so many art fairs before, but we have different also artists, maybe established and young ones that need to be presented. So I think those kind of collaborations are really important.
And there is, we can see in institutions internationally, I think it's slow shift, and more interest and more work being put in the research on modern Arab artists. We have now a catalogue raisonné for Jawed Salim, for instance, a pioneer of Iraqi art. We have a lot of work from Marwan being shown this week in Paris only, but not only in Paris. I think it's not a trend, it's a movement of history of arts, decentering from the Western world and showing us the pioneers who were always there, but there was not the international attention that it gets today. There's also another shift at the same time with the construction of new museums and new collections around the world, but also in the Arab world in general. Is this shift impacting your work, or is this like something you don't benefit from? For contemporary artists, I think, that you represent, for instance, do you think that this shift is benefiting maybe the work of local practitioners, or is this not benefiting directly? It's a tough question.
So actually, I didn't really get your question.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. So I think it's very important what you're saying. Basically, all these artists being shown here, like you said, Marwan having a show at the Japanese Foundation, it shows how great Marwan is, for example. It shows in general how great our artists are. Like in the Arab world, Japanese is one of the most important artists and today you have Marwan's work in dialogue with Japanese work put together in the same place. So in a way, they're equal. So we're showing to the world, these exhibitions are showing the world that Arab artists are as important as Western artists. So this obviously pushes us as galleries, as artists, collectors, whatever, to like keep going, push more. Gives us motivation, and obviously it gives motivation to the young artists, because the young artists can now look and see, oh, our professor is now here, or our teacher is now here, our mentor is now here. So this really, I think this is very important, and it plays a huge role in pushing Arab art forward.
Any thoughts, Yusef? I was wondering about, so in the context that is yours today, are there any networks, are there any, because you've been saying that you were shifting and recentering because it's a need for you, but are there any useful networks or, that you've been using or that you would like to see developing in the future?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, we have been seeing incredible support from the entire world to the Palestinian cause, and especially that has been shown through the cultural scene. So not only through visual art, but also through music festivals and different types of art expression. In regards to the art scene, we're seeing that there is more museums in Europe, for example, that are now collaborating to acquire Palestinian art. We're not seeing huge collections being acquired, but at least what we're seeing is a number of museums making a collaboration to acquire that number of works and create an exhibition that is moving around in Eastern Europe. We're seeing a lot of, mostly I would say it's not institutional as much as personal initiative. We're seeing a lot of curators and collectors themselves that are using the tools that they have and the works that they have to talk about Palestine through the art. So we see more, and even art residencies for younger artists. We're seeing a lot more of those. France is obviously a great, an important host in that sense. We're seeing collectors or new collectors that are acquiring and opening their homes as sort of pop-up galleries in the world. That this is something we didn't see before. So now our collaborations sometimes are not only galleries like before, but they were a collector's home. And then that becomes an exhibition that is for a few days and so forth. So we're seeing that there is so much energy and need and want to expand that honestly we are overwhelmed, that it's difficult to keep up with all these projects that are happening. And I think that what we're one of the things that we're trying to do is how to decentralize and how to make more projects that are able to travel the world and to be able to be replicated in many places at once. And a little bit step away from the traditional sense that you have to have a single exhibition in a place. Like how to make a project that many people and everybody is invited to be able to take a part of this project. So this is a bit of what we're seeing, and there is support from many places coming. Yeah.
What about, so Mohammed, you've been living in France for a long time, and you've been creating from here. So you are rooting all your work in your Palestinian identity, as we said before, and like you are now trying to also testify and show people what is the reality of Palestine. You've been telling me before that you wanted people to, shift a little bit from the news that we get here and see the reality of it. And how do you do that? Like, do you still have those networks? We have been, so Maïsara also lives in France now, Maïsara Beirut, who's the artist Yusef mentioned before. So how do you keep those networks alive, and how do you, keep this link together in terms of?
Well, as a Palestinian artist, I'm trying to carry up the concept from Palestine, from Gaza, to the world. And the most important thing is just always keep in my mind, just to keep it like global context, in a meaning that the art has always open questions and not localized in somewhere or in some area. Otherwise, it will be just local art. The Palestinian case is international case. And everybody now, maybe not all, maybe after 7th October, everybody's trying to understand actually what's happening in Palestine. And then by the art, we are trying just to show that the other face of the reality. I don't know how to talk about my art actually, but I'm trying to explain something that, as Mohammed said, I'm trying to carry the vision of Gaza today. It's really terrible vision and sad vision. So I'm trying just to show the world. Well, the media showing photos everywhere through social media, like Instagram, Facebook. But we are trying as Palestinian artists to create a case. I will not only talk about myself as Mohammed, presenting my art here. I would like to talk about the case also in Palestine, West Bank and Gaza, during the genocide. The art has taken a new way, you know. Many artists started even to produce art which were not, in their mind in the past. So we are just trying, me and other artists, to hold up the case to the international society through our art, through our concepts. And we let just people to read the art scene and to read the paintings by their way, you know. And it's just open question to everybody. And through this open question, we give them the opportunity to know more about Palestine, about Palestinian art as well, and about the most important things which, for me as Palestinian from Gaza, is to show the reality even out of art, you know, as it is, exactly. And through the art we try, just. We hope that we can, nothing can explain, nothing can really explain the reality. The art or other things couldn't explain these things clearly. The pain is bigger than the art and bigger than anything else.
So I would like to add something, building on Joha. France actually now has become, so now France hosts, between Paris and Marseille, it hosts the largest number of Palestinian art, especially from Gaza outside of Palestine. So I think that this is a very interesting and powerful place to be able to host these voices and to help them expand faster. So I'm very happy. For me, this is my first time in France, and it's my first time meeting many artists that I have been personally working with for years, but I was never able to meet in person. Because in Palestine, me living in the West Bank, I cannot go to Gaza, and people in Gaza cannot come to the West Bank. So it's actually, I just met Joha today, even though we have been working together for years. Same case with Maysara Baroud that we just met a few days ago. And there is tens of artists here now. And I think that the art production that is going to come from these talents that are now going to, after they become stable in France, they will start to be able to process and to look back to their own experience, and the art that's going to come from their hands and from their soul, it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I think that we should all keep a very open eye to the art scene of Palestine in France and see how this can become sort of a beacon and a place to embrace them and to push them, because I mean here, everything that they didn't have before in terms of freedom of mobility, accessibility, I mean Paris, France is like a sentence, you can go from here to anywhere. It's easier to connect to other countries or to travel or to ship your work or to me trying to bring the works from Palestine to here. With the closure of the borders, it was a huge risk that half of our artists will not make it. So I was telling Maysara and Joha that, funny enough, now they are here, you know, just as a backup, we need to prepare more works since you're now in France that can just come here. So this is one of the things that usually for us creating a small exhibition can become super tedious and difficult because of the logistics. So I think that, I mean, after everything they have been through, to be able to be here and to take a breath, this will be very impactful. So we are about to see this happening, or we are about to witness it. So it's cooking.
Thank you very much.
I love speaking.
Laure wanted to, so this is, I will give it to you.
Sorry, I will speak French and English. I wanted to add, first of all, Yusef, I'm very touched by what you say, and I didn't know you didn't meet before, that you didn't meet each other, because I know your art.
This is the first time.
For a long time, بس ما بعرف حليا والمرة تشوفه مش معقول يعني. I wanted just to say about my experience in Lebanon, because I've been living there for more than 30 years. أنا مش شاطرة بفهم بس ما فيني أحكي كتير. And I arrived in Lebanon in 1991, so it was just after the Taif Accord. for the peace in Lebanon, well, let's say peace. But what I've seen with the Lebanese scene, it was that, in fact, art never stopped. And I think all of you could be okay with me. And art was a way for artists, for collectors, for everybody to stay in life. It means I've seen exhibition in, I don't know the word in English, dans les abris. Comment tu dis ça en anglais? Merci pour votre anglais. And sometimes at the radio says, be careful, in 2 hours we will bomb this area in Beirut. So the galleries used to pack all the artworks because they were supposed to have an opening in the Abri that day at that time, and to move from one area to another area to do the exhibition. And it was full of people coming and saying, great, we can see art, we can buy art, and we will dream. We will dream of our country after the war. We will dream when we will be all together again, ensemble. And if art was not there, thanks to artists, to Kevork also. Listen to me, Kevork.
I'm very moved by what you're saying. I was saying that we have to have this discussion more, yes.
And without art, I mean, you, Kevork, your work is la destruction et la reconstruction. And you are also Armenian. You are Syrian, Armenian, and what else?
I have a little bit of Assyrian blood in me. Sorry,
but it's too much. I mean, all the genocide that votre peuple have lived, I mean, it's incredible. And the way you paint, destroy cities to rebuild, wow. And I think all of you is like that. Yusef, what you said, touch me a lot because I know you from quite a long time now. You know that I love you.
I'm sorry for that interruption. There's a common connection with us that our country is destroyed by the Israelis. We have the same. The meeting point between all of us that our country under the Israeli aggression. Okay, so Gaza, it is all smashed. Syria as well, smashed. Lebanon during this war and in the past. So we are meeting in one point that destruction, this war, you know. So our art presenting this destruction. That's all. Maybe this is the positive or negative point that leads to the destruction, you know. We would love to do something for our life, not for destruction.
And also about Damascus, I went to Damas when it was during the war, and the French consulate told me that I must not go to Damascus, and I said, well, no, I will go. So I went. When it's Nour, I go. And I did visit many exhibitions there. It was not announced officially everywhere, but it was like in Iran, in fact. It was confidential. People knew that at that time, this man or this lady was doing an exhibition in their home. And just like that, we go, we knock at the door, marhaba, we come. The door open, and then we can see the exhibition. And it was like that. I spent a few days in Damascus. It was amazing to see the artists, to touch them, to kiss them, to hold them, and to say, gosh, we can see your art. And what you say, I don't know, one of you said that, in fact, the artists create about what they feel and what's happening, and they don't have conscience about what people from outside can think about themselves because they are stuck in their area and they cannot go out. So the art is completely pure and magic and strong, but also this is why I wanted Menart Fair this year to be about softness, because we don't need to, artist doesn't need necessarily to do strong strong art, that hurts. Because in fact you can see and to like a paysage or something, but we need people to enter in the art to understand. And that's great. I'm very happy to see all of you here.
Thank you. And I was just telling Kevork the same thing, so that's why I was not listening to you. But yes, you have this. So we've been talking about the destruction and the conflicts and the genocide, and of course the goal of this talk was not to obliviate this reality, which is bringing you together. And I was telling Kevork, you should talk about your work once again, because he's been really rebuilding architecture of lost cities, so really depicting memory and this sense of loss, which I found fascinating. So I would like to hear a bit more about your work. And I know it's difficult, but...
Before I continue, I'm curious if people here, they have any specific questions regarding our work, because it could be boring that you only hear us. But if you have something, feel free to say, because this will be more interactive between us instead of just like me telling you. So don't worry, just say you have something. This way we will wake up, because we can talk until tomorrow because we enjoy doing this. But I want to hear. Sorry, did I interrupted your Sorry about that. Because I see.
No,
Yes.
it's really interesting. Thank you for being here. I'm a child from Lebanese, from the diaspora, and I really was touched by when you talked about the Palestinian being here in Paris and seeing the scene grow here in Paris or in France or everywhere. So I wanted to know how do you see in a few years later, how you see the collaborations and how we as diaspora also can help you construct or giving light more, how can we help by being here also? Like I know there's a lot of people who want to help, and we have the same memory, we have the same thoughts maybe, and so how can you see it and imagine it?
It's a bit of a tough question to answer, but first of all, I would like to start by saying that for me, I prefer to identify with this need as a call and not as a help. If you put yourself in the shoes of the helper, you are in the wrong place. And I think that you seeing that you have something to add, because they are the ones fighting already without us. Okay? So this is point one. Second, I think it's great to have art fairs and different types of events such as Mina Art Fair that is specific to our voices as a platform. Another thing is to have these talks, whether they are physical or via Zoom or whatever, but where people can actually share their experience in a raw way without the filters of the curatorial, exhibitions and all of that usually behind. So that's another way. But in more practically on the ground, art usually is produced, in bulk, or let's say like the core of the art production is going to be produced after the fact. So we're still hopefully ending the genocide period. So I think that what we're going to see is something to surprise us. So for anybody that's a gallerist, that's a curator, that's an art critic, that's a collector, anybody that's in the art scene, now you have gold in France, and you should jump to it. So there is a lot to do and to benefit from, respectfully and morally, of course. So I think that it's not only this, what I'm saying, and the reason I mentioned benefit is because I support benefit. I am against people that come to help us and to say, you know, how can I help? I don't want your help. I want you to buy a piece because you need it in your home. Because you cannot live without it in your home, not because you need to help me or help the artist. We are fine, alhamdulillah. Okay? So this is an important thing that I want everybody to have in mind. You can benefit from the artist being here more than the other way around. Because they will do fine in France, in London, wherever you put them, they are great. So I think this is a mentality that sometimes we fall into, and actually my experience in Europe, if I can be completely frank with you, is usually this, and it's why I prefer to be in Arab countries and not in Europe, because every time here I am, thank you, but no, you know, you thank me because I came.
Yes.
So that's, I hope I answered your question. Okay.
Loud and clear. Thank you. Does anyone else have a question in mind? Want to share experience? All right. I just had a few more questions actually. I wanted to know about emergence of new artists and how do you, so maybe Nour and Kalim, but also Yusef could talk about this. How do you discover new artists? How do you see this young generation coming to the market? And I would like to hear more about them because we can hear a lot about modern artists. We can hear about contemporary artists who are already on an international level because I'm here based in France, so I can hear from them. But how do you work locally to maybe, nurture those new talents that we are going to see in a few years here who will benefit from your work?
I always go to the Faculty of Fine Arts in Syria to see the new talents that they have, and there's always new talents that you need to work on. So I try to work with the ones that I see they are special and they are working on themselves. And also through Instagram, of course, you can connect with so many artists. And that's it. This is how I personally meet the young artists. And also Kalim is working on a lot of young Syrian artists. Thanks to him as well, a lot.
So as Nour said, it's very important to visit universities, schools, institutions that help support young artists. That way you can discover new talents as well as social media platforms today. It's a very powerful tool to discover new talents. And you should always visit shows and exhibitions happening in all galleries because you never know when you'll discover the next, superstar in the Arab world or as an artist in general. So it's very important to any show that you see coming up, just go, even if it's for a few minutes, go check the work. Because you never know, this might be the next big thing. So yeah, just visibility and keep going.
What about you?
We're always on the lookout for new talents, and we're very much in touch with the cultural and academic institutions that are fostering these new talents. And we are also seeing a large number of artists that are that not necessarily go through the academic process and just have a certain talent or need to create, and we push them. I could say that specifically our greatest exhibition a year that we do that really is the biggest platform for us to discover new art is Ramallah Art Fair. It's not really an art fair. It's called the Ramallah Art Fair because it's the largest art exhibition in Palestine that happens, but it's just one huge group exhibition that we do in Ramallah every December. So part of the process is we have our established network of collectors that are participating, but we do an open call and we allow certain seats for new talents that are applying, and we're always surprised by who is applying. Because in Palestine we have a difficulty of visiting each other, so depending on where you are, you're sort of limited into what you can see. For example, I can visit the studios and the universities and the institutions and the exhibitions that are in the West Bank, but I cannot go to Jerusalem, I cannot go to Haifa, Yafa, Akka. And then for them it's difficult to come to Ramallah. So we communicate by reputation, by knowing and hearing about who's there. So it's a bit funny how it works, but at the end of the day we do hear about each other, and because there is this mobility gap, people make it a responsibility to meet and to talk about what they are seeing. So it's always being part of the scene and always being receptive to new applications, new talents, and be able to foster them as much as possible.
Thank you. What about the local collectors or the markets that you have today, not only local but beyond? Do you have any maybe insights to share with us? Because so I'm going to talk about Iraq. It's another example, but I was there recently 3 weeks ago, and there was this. So it was always something that the elite collectors were among the elite always. But before the embargo, there was a real tradition for families to collect art, and there were a lot of private collections and a lot of enthusiasm for the Iraqi art scene. And then there was the embargo, then there was 2003 invasion, and it just collapsed, and so a lot of people went into exile. The collections were slowly dispersed, and so the market now is among still the elite, but also outside of Iraq, mainly outside of Iraq for Iraqi artists. That's one of the examples I know, and I don't know about your context, but I would be a bit curious to know a bit more about those markets, if you have any insights.
Actually, the problem, because of the war, most of the collectors and most of the most famous galleries in Syria, they left Syria. They're no longer available in Syria. They are somewhere else, maybe Dubai, maybe living in Europe. So you cannot find now like really serious collectors as before. There's a very, very few ones. And the others, they're not in Syria, and this has affected, of course, the art scene, because if you don't have serious collectors, how can you sell for the artist? I can always sell outside, but it's more important to sell inside, when you sell the Syrian art to Syrian people inside of Syria. So that was like very, very few people now are buying in Syria. In Lebanon, it's much it's different. They have a lot of people that love art, collectors, and they appreciate art. It's a bit different.
So, as Nour said, it's a bit different in Lebanon. What's different is that we still have some serious collectors, but we have a rise of new collectors recently, especially in the past 3-4 years. We can see a huge rise in young collectors. So collectors under 30 years old that are being interested in buying art, collecting art. They're being very much interested in this type of, I would say, asset. So, but on the other hand, you have the problem where a lot of people are buying art for the wrong reasons. So one of these reasons is flipping art, speculation, and all of that. We all agree that art is not something that's like collected, as you need to pay for it. It's expensive, it could be very expensive. But at the same time, it's definitely an asset. So if you really love it and hold on to it, eventually you will see the value. But it's very wrong to buy the art just for the sole purpose of buying it and flipping it and selling it and trying to make money. So, okay, it could be an investment, but at the same time, it should be something that you're attached to. You need to have this like coup de cœur if you want to buy it. So you need to buy it, hold on to it very dearly before thinking of selling it. So this is a problem that we face in Beirut, is that a lot of people are coming to the art world, they want to buy, etc. But most of the reason behind this buying is to try and flip. So if we can regulate that, try to educate people to buy art for the purpose of buying art because they love it. Eventually, if they want to sell, they can. Hold on to it a couple of years before flipping. Then I think we will have a great market.
Unfortunately, it's a shared problem because speculation around art is very much something that we know about here also. What about you, Yusef?
So I would say that we are more similar to Syria's case. We don't have a lot of serious collectives in Palestine. There is a segment of collectors that have an incredibly rich and diverse collection that used to buy before, let's say, the institutions and galleries came in, like some 20, 30 years ago, when the prices were incredibly attractive and the artists had there was no clear market and there was no way of knowing that we're going to reach these prices and this complexity in the market. So what we're doing as a gallery is trying to encourage a newer generation, and same to the case here. We're also seeing a lot of younger, but more affordable artworks being sold to a younger generation. And we see also prints doing us a favor here with silk screens, limited editions, and so forth that are a bit accessible, but in a way they are a hope. Because if you start buying, even if you start buying just limited edition prints, you're going to want the original, then you're going to want more and more and more. So it's a way to bring in and create new collectives that become surprisingly passionate. And my bet is on this generation and not on the high level of society that also wants art for different reasons. And there's also the dealers that are, we see more dealers coming in that are also trying to benefit from the rise. We're seeing that, frankly, because of the thousands and thousands of works that were lost in Gaza, whoever has a piece by an artist from Gaza nowadays, he's lost 500 artworks in Gaza. So the few pieces that you can find in other countries or outside of Gaza now have tripled or quadrupled, and it's just insane what's happening. So we're also trying to regulate that and to maintain the respect to the art, respect also the market, the supply and demand, but not to carry that wave. To just make profit on the moment, because you could benefit short term, but you will lose long term, or it will be difficult to maintain long term. So we're trying to take things easy and to encourage people to also keep things as they have been and to grow gradually and not spontaneously. Because we're seeing a lot of inflation happening in the art market. Palestinian art is not cheap. I don't know compared to Syrian or Lebanese, but Palestinian art is very expensive. It should be a bit more accessible. But yeah, that's from my end.
Thank you very much. If there are no specific questions, maybe I can offer you to have your word and have your final word here. The goal of today was to give you the floor, so maybe if you have something specific in mind that you want to share and take this opportunity to be here today to share with us.
Yeah, actually one thing came to my mind, the idea when you were asking about how do you discover young talent. It's great, yeah, there are many ways to discover young talent, you just go out there, but how about artists who are already out there and been forgotten? Like amazing artists we know, like for example, Kalim time. He was completely neglected and no one cared about him. And then now Marwan is dead, like they're praising him. So it's earlier today, I saw one of my favorite artists here. It looked like he's a lost homeless guy. His name is Asadur, one of the most amazing Middle Eastern artists. But he's completely neglected. He didn't get his fair share. It's very important to care about art, period. Because basically, artists are documenting the time that we live. We can't just say, okay, we have to jump in, the new trend, the new trend, the new trend. For example, Khaled Samawi came, this very posh, important gallerist came and just tried to raise the market and created this big prices for Syrian art. The whole thing collapsed. What I'm trying to say, like, it's very important to have educated curators who are focusing on important cultural figures because they're the one documenting what's out there. Not to jump in only the new trend. Because if you look what's happening in America right now, all the major galleries, they're jumping to new trend. Now the new trend is this black trends and other, like, it's all good. I don't have any issues with race and gender, but try to look at art as like a blind audition. It's music or painting or installation. It has to say something powerful. Let's support it, not like use it for 5 minutes and like drop it, the way Warhol said, 15 minutes of fame. So I think that came to my mind. That's why I'm speaking my mind about how we can just capture our treasures, not neglect them. For example, there's a very important Armenian artist, I'm talking about from my own heritage, who lived in Iran, Margos Grigorian. His pieces right now hanging at the MoMA. He got killed by some mobs in Armenia. He brought his pieces all to Armenia, opened the museum. He disappeared. This guy disappeared, but now his pieces are in MoMA. It just breaks my heart to see situations like this. So let's collectively figure out how to protect our own artists. And of course, when you see beautiful art, we have to also support and discover. That came to my mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nour, do you want to really work?
Just thank you so much for having us today and to be able to have this conversation all together. That's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so don't forget to talk to them after the talk if you were shy to ask your question in public. I really want to warmly thank you all for being here today, for sharing your experience. I think we have a great deal to learn from you, and you have all fascinating trajectories, and I'm looking forward to continue to follow your projects and your great initiatives.
I'm going to add one more thing. First of all, thank you so much. This is great. But what I'm suggesting now, because I want to know more about practices that each of us have, we're going to go, of course, if you have time only. I want to learn about your work. I'm going to go with you. So if you guys are interested to join, I want to hear. And also, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring them to my booth. And it will be great to, again, this collaboration can start here. And hopefully it will create something beautiful. So welcome to join us if you want.
And don't forget that the OPOM booth opened, so Observatoire du Patrimoine de l'Orient et la Méditerranée, they opened their booth at the fair today, and so they're downstairs, so don't forget to pay them a visit. And let's continue this informally and continue this conversation because it's an ongoing conversation and it's a great one. Thank you.
Thank you so much.